Welcome to the other side of life. I'm Will, and hope you had a great weekend. Today we're going to be talking about emotion regulation, and let's go. Just a little review. I want to make sure that you put together your distraction therapy list. The distraction therapy list is a list of things that you put together that's going to help you get through the rough spots when you just want to throw the towel in. Instead of doing that, you're going to go to your list, whether it's listening to music or dancing or watching a funny show on Netflix or whatever. Also, we want to make sure that we've been practicing our mindfulness exercises. I think this was episode 3 and 4 that I did. Because today these next 2 episodes, we're going to be compressing a lot of things together. So you might go over a topic that causes a lot of triggers. So you're going to want to go to your distraction therapy list. You might have to use a little bit of mindfulness to kind of get to the root of some of your emotions that you're struggling with. You're definitely going to have to do some opposite action and probably some radical acceptance, all right? So let's get right to it. We're going to be talking about our primary emotions and our secondary emotions, and even an offshoot from our secondary emotions. So what are our emotions? I mean, a lot of you, I'm sure, are very aware. If you feel love, you feel all happy and giddy inside, you feel anger, your blood pressure goes up. If you feel fear, you get really quiet, and you kind of almost have an anxiety attack. So we got our primary emotions. So a good example of that is, let's say you're in the house and you're doing something, whatever, fixing dinner, and someone pops out around the corner and scares you. Now the first thing you have is a little bit of fear, right? It kind of makes you jump, you're like, and then kind of makes you laugh, and then you get angry, you son of a, and you chase them around the house or whatever. Maybe that's never happened to you. It's definitely happened to me. So the primary emotion could be fear. One of the things that I went through lately is getting laid off from work. Where's your money going to go? Where's your money going to come from? How are you going to make ends meet? So the primary emotion may be fear. Then if you're dealing with that brother or sister that scared you when you came walking around the corner, secondary emotion could be anger. All right? Just a knee-jerk reaction. Most of our anger is rooted in fear. All right? You've probably heard that before. So fear could be the primary emotion, whether you lost a job or someone scared you or, whatever. Then it can slide over to anger. You son of a gun, I'm going to get you. Or, this shouldn't happen. Why am I having to go through this? So primary emotion was fear. Bounced over. Secondary emotion was anger. And then how did I respond to that anger? And that's when we drop down to this one. All right, so how do I respond to anger or even fear? I might decide, like for me, it was always medicating. So I, used prescriptions, I used drugs, I used alcohol, whatever it was, to calm down those fears or to deal with that depression or whatever. So you got your fear, you got anger. Next thing, because of the way you just chose to deal with that anger or that fear, you might feel shame. If you ended up getting a DUI or you got in a fight at the bar or the club or whatever, you stayed out too long, causes a fight with the wife because you didn't come home. So you might have some shame. This can even break down, again, maybe you feel guilt, or maybe you even feel sad. Maybe down here in this fourth one, you're starting to feel depressed, because you put a depressant in your life. Like me, I was putting alcohol in my body, which is a natural depressant, so I'd feel sad. Now, this can keep going. You can keep having secondary emotions, and this is where people get stuck. And this is where people, when they're going to therapy, sometimes it is hard to get back to this primary emotion. Because it's just like a chain reaction. First one was fear. Next one was anger. Next one was guilt. Next one was shame or whatever. Or, you start feeling depressed. And it just keeps stacking on top of each other. And so you might think after some time that the primary emotion was sad. I'm sad. How many people have said, I'm sad and I don't know why? I feel depressed and I have no idea why I feel this way. This is part of the reason. This is why I talk about using mindfulness exercises to slow our mind down. Remember, we used the peacock feather before. So we slow our mind down and we can get to the root cause, like what is really going on? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? And sometimes you can trace it back. Oh yeah, that thing happened. And that's what caused my fear. And I responded off of that. This is an introduction to focusing on our primary on our primary emotions and moving on to our secondary, third, fourth, emotions that cause that chain reaction. I know this may sound very elementary and it's like, why am I wasting time talking about this? And I don't believe it's a waste of time, because I believe that a lot of people forget, what their second and what their main primary emotion is. And I think that a lot of us get stuck way down the line of just reacting to things and feeling feelings and not even remembering why we felt them. So on our next episode on Thursday, we are going to talk about dealing with these and writing down and getting how can I get to the root cause. There's going to be some more writing going on. If you've got some feelings, you're maybe struggling with some depression or whatever, do some writing. Write it down. So what's going on? Why am I sad? Well, because I'm scared of losing a job, or I'm scared of the end of a relationship. How am I gonna survive without this other person? When we can focus on this, and we can learn to accept and deal with what our primary emotion was, you will be surprised at how quickly your depression will start to flee as you can deal with the core primary emotion. All right? And a lot of times we don't get to that core emotion. That's why we spend a lot of time in therapy. And unless you can get to the core of what's really going on, all you're doing is spending a lot of time talking about surface stuff. I hope that makes sense. Like I said, Thursday we're going to do some writing. We're going to deal with some core issues. I'm going to give a few examples. So make sure you put your distraction therapy list together. Make sure you are practicing mindful exercises. Make sure you are practicing some of that radical acceptance and some opposite action, because this Thursday you're going to have to put a lot of those tools into practice. All right? So hang in there. My Black Jewel employees, hang in there. We're going to get through this, and I will see you next time on The Other Side of Life. Please subscribe, hit the notification so you don't miss an episode. I'm Will.